Hello students, our today's topic is the maintenance of anaerobic condition in food. So as we all know, we are using different techniques for the preservation of food from spoilage microorganisms. We are using different methods or different principles in order to protect our food from different kinds of spoilage microorganisms. And among them, the maintenance of anaerobic condition in food is one of the most important techniques we are using in order to preserve the onset of the spoilage microorganism in food and thereby leading to the foodborne diseases and foodborne illness. So, as we already told, it is one of the most important method of the food preservation. And in this technique, here the food is preserved by either sealing, packing or canning to create an anaerobic condition in food. And the seals pack so the cans are completely filled, evacuated of air, leading to creation of vacuum, or they are replaced with the inert gases like carbon dioxide, nitrogen and hydrogen. And the anaerobic conditions created will prevent the growth of the aerobes, but at the same time some obligate anaerobes like the Clostridium botulinum can still grow, which is the most dangerous organism as it produces a potent neurotoxin. And precaution should be taken in order to avoid the contamination by anaerobes when anaerobic conditions are used for preservation. The spores are resistant to heat and may survive in canned food, but they are unable to germinate in the absence of oxygen. So it is one maintenance of anaerobic condition in food is one of the most important technique used for the preservation of the food from the spoilage microorganisms. And here we are using different techniques. It is we are using either sealing of the food, packaging of the food or canning methods can be used in order to create an anaerobic condition in the food. And the seals pack so the cans are completely filled or completely evacuated of the air and thereby leading to a creation of vacuum, or they are replaced with the inert gases like the carbon dioxide, nitrogen and hydrogen. So we can either completely evacuate the cans or we can replace air with the inert gases like carbon dioxide, nitrogen and hydrogen. And the anaerobic conditions created will help to prevent the growth of aerobes. Since the air is completely evacuated, it will help to prevent the growth of the aerobic spoilage microorganism in such food. But at the same time, some obligate anaerobes are also spoilage microorganism. One most important example is the Clostridium botulinum. It is a strict anaerobe and it is also a spore former, which is the reason behind the spoilage of many kind of food items, and also they are highly harmful because of their ability to produce the potent neurotoxins. And so because of that we have to take strict precautions in order to prevent the spoilage by these anaerobic bacteria. Precautions should be taken to avoid the contamination by these anaerobes when the anaerobic conditions are used for the preservation. So we have to take strict precautions in order to prevent the entrance of these anaerobic microorganisms, and thereby we can prevent the spoilage of the food by these anaerobic spoilage microorganisms. And the spores are resistant to heat and may survive in the canned food, but they are unable to germinate in the absence of oxygen. If any spores are present in these food items, they are resistant to heat. We know that the spores are resistant to unfavorable conditions, environmental condition like that. They are resistant to heat and also they may survive in the canned food, but they are unable to germinate in the absence of oxygen. Next, coming to the common methods in order to maintain an anaerobic condition in the food. First one is the sealing, and it is one of the most important method of maintaining anaerobic condition in food. And also there are three main methods of sealing food, that is by fat sealing method, oil sealing and also by the vacuum seals. And the principle of this method is to keep the oxygen out of food and thus thereby suffocating the bacteria. The bacteria cannot grow without the oxygen and thus they will not be able to survive, and thereby we can prevent the spoilage of the food by this type of microorganisms. And the sealing of food means to prohibit the bacterial growth and thereby preserving the food items. And the different methods of the food sealing are, okay, then coming to the different types of sealing techniques. The first one is the fat sealing, and it is one of the simplest preservation method used for centuries for the preservation of the different food items. And the basic procedure of this is, one is to first cook the salted and dried food like the meat and meat products in fat and then storing it in the cooled fat. And the fat is animal fat which will form clear yellow to creamy white cover over the food. And the first basic principle of the fat sealing is that the food is free of the moisture. So there is the first important principle is that such food will be free of moisture, and therefore drying is an essential factor, and the drying may be done by air drying or salt drying. And the second principle is that the fat needs to be pure. The fat must be free from the spoilage microorganisms, and any impurities in the fat will lead to the contamination or spoilage by the spoilage microorganisms like the Clostridium botulinum, and they will also lead to the spoilage of the food items. And the third principle is that all existing bacteria, yeast and mold need to be killed before the food is sealed in fat, and this may be done either by full cooking the food and by sterilizing the storage containers. So the first there are different types of sealing techniques. The aim of the sealing is to provide an anaerobic condition in the food items. We are using different techniques in order to produce an anaerobic condition in the food items, and thereby we are trying to preserve the food from the spoilage, aerobic spoilage microorganisms. And that there we are using different types of the anaerobic condition, different techniques for the maintenance of the anaerobic condition in the food items. And the first one is the sealing. We are using the sealing technique in order to prevail an anaerobic condition in the food item. And among the sealing there are different types, and the first one is the fat sealing technique, and it is one of the important and also at the same time simplest method which are followed for centuries. And the basic procedure of this method is, first we have to cook the salted and dried food, especially meat and meat products are stored in this type of food, in this type of preservation technique. Here the basic procedure is to cook the salted and the dried food in fat. We are cooking it in the fat, and also we are storing in cooled fat. So in meat and meat products we are first preparing it in the fat of that animal itself, and also we are cooling it and storing in fat also. And the fat will forms a clear yellow to creamy white cover of the food. So since we are preparing the food in this animal fat, it will settle, or it will form a layer, yellow to creamy white cover or layer on the surface of the food items. And the first basic principle of the fat sealing is that the food is free of moisture. We have already told that we are preparing the cooked, salted and dried food. So the basic principle behind is that such food will be free of moisture. So since the food is free of moisture, the chance of contamination is also very low. And besides that, we are preparing it in the fat, and this fat will form a layer on the surface of the food item. So such food will be free of moisture. It will also an advantageous factor, and besides that, the first layer will be the fat. And therefore the drying is also an essential step in this type of method, and we can use either the air drying or the salt drying. And the second principle is that the fat need to be pure. So since the fat is act as a barrier behind the between the microorganisms and food, another factor we have to keep in mind is that the fat must be free of the microorganisms. It must be in its pure form, and any impurities in the fat can can lead to the spoilage by the, it will also carry the spoilage microorganisms like the Clostridium botulinum. If the fat itself is spoiled, and if such microorganisms enter into the food items, they will definitely grow and will lead to the spoilage of the food items. And the third principle is that all existing bacteria, yeast and mold need to be killed before the food is sealed in fat. So before we are sealing the food in the fat, we must make sure that the food is free of contaminant. We have to properly cook them, and also we have to properly sterilize the equipments that, or the containers or the utensils that will come in contact with the food items. We have to first ensure that the food is free of the contaminants, and then next we have to store or seal them in the fat. And the third one is the vacuum sealing, and this method requires some special equipment for the sealing process. And the vacuum seals do not mean that the food is safe from spoilage. And the principle behind the vacuum seal is that the oxygen is prohibited from entering the food and aiding the bacterial growth. And without additional preserving process like drying or pasteurizing, the food in vacuum seal is likely to spoil. To prevent the spoilage, store in a cool and dark place like a fridge, and we have to use it as early as possible. And only deep freezing vacuum sealed food can extend the lifespan of the foods considerably. So the third sealing technique is the vacuum sealing technique, and this method requires some additional equipments for the sealing process. And the vacuum seal does not mean that the food is safe for spoilage. It is also not a safe method of preservation. There is also chance of contamination. It is also not mean that the food is completely safe or free of the spoilage microorganism. And the principle behind this technique is that the oxygen is prohibited from entering the food and aiding the bacterial growth. So the principle of this technique is that by the vacuum sealing, we are completely evacuating the oxygen content of the food items, and so the aerobic microorganisms will not be able to survive in food items, and hence we can prevent the spoilage of the food by these aerobic microorganisms. Because and also without the additional preserving processes like drying or pasteurizing, the food in vacuum seals is likely to spoil by the microorganisms. If we are not adding any other additional processes like the drying or pasteurizing, the chance of contamination is very high in these vacuum sealed food items. And so we have to store them in the fridge, and also we have to use them quickly, or we have to use them as early as possible. And only deep freezing vacuum sealed food can have more shelf life. So the deep freezing vacuum sealed food have more shelf life. And the second type of maintenance of the anaerobic condition is by the packaging or packing of food item or packed food items. And the packaging food in a vacuum environment, usually in an airtight bag or bottle, will help to provide an anaerobic environment. And as bacteria need oxygen for the survival, the vacuum environment in the package will help to slow down the spoilage micro growth of the spoilage microorganism, and thereby we can prevent the spoilage of the food to a greater extent. So the second one is the packaging or the packing of the food item, and here we are providing a vacuum environment. Inside we are packing the food items in airtight bag or bottles, and there we are prevailing an anaerobic environment. So since there is no presence of oxygen, these aerobic spoilage microorganisms are not able to survive in such food items. We know that most of the aerobic bacteria need oxygen for their survival, and the vacuum environment in the package will slow down the spoilage by them. In that environment, these aerobic microorganisms are not able to survive. They are not able to grow, multiply, and hence they will not lead to the spoilage of the food items. And the fourth method is the canning. And canning is a method of food preservation in which the food is processed and sealed in airtight containers like the mason jars, steel jars, and also tin cans. And here the food in containers are first heated to a temperature that destroys the microorganisms that will lead to the food spoilage. And during this heating process, air is driven out of the jar, and as it cools, a vacuum seal is formed inside the food items, and this vacuum seal prevents air from getting back into the product and thereby prevent the spoilage microorganism. And the canning provides a shelf life that typically ranges from 1 to 5 years, although under specific circumstances it can be much longer. A freeze-dried canned product such as a canned dried lentils could last as long as 30 years in an edible state. So the fourth method is the canning method. It is one of the major method or important method of food preservation, and here the food is processed and stored in airtight containers. Like this, we can use either mason jars, steel can, or the tin can. And first here the food in containers, we are first adding the food items, or first we are taking the food in containers, and first they are heated to a temperature that will destroy the microorganism, that will help to destroy all the spoilage microorganisms which is already present in the food items. And during this heating process, the air is also completely driven out of the jar, and as it cools, a vacuum seal is formed above the food items inside these containers, and this vacuum seal will prevent air from getting back into the product and thereby prevent the entrance of the spoilage microorganism. And coming to the shelf life, it usually ranges from 1 to 5 years. Under some specific circumstances, there can also much more longer shelf life. And in the case of the canned dried lentils, it can be stored up to 30 years in an edible state. These are the some images of the canned food items. Thank you.